Welcome to the Town of Ayer Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, March 5th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Ayer Town Hall. This is a hybrid meeting. This meeting of the Finance Committee will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID 978-772-8220 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100 prior to the meeting. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. I will note that we have three members present, Bob France, Eric Seckman, and Kurt Fraskowski, and Andrew Celia is joining us by Zoom. First item on the agenda is we're reviewing two sets of minutes. The first one is actually for February 5th. So we can go ahead and there's copies for the members. We're going to take a look and see if there's any changes or notes on those. I looked earlier, didn't see anything.
I thought they were very thorough.
That they are. Yes. They set a high bar for the other committees.
I'm gonna start calling it AE.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the February 5th minutes are approved as presented. And then the other meeting minutes we have are from February 19th meeting. Again, I took a look at those earlier. I did not notice anything. Anyone else?
I motion we accept the meeting minutes from February 19th.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so I do believe we have January 29th still outstanding.
Oh, we do?
Minutes, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, we can double check that, but because I could be,
Oh, you have them listed right there, January 29th.
yeah. But that may be a thing where I carry the agenda forward and stuff. So. But we'll double check that and address that at our meeting on the 19th if needed. So, okay. Committee updates. There is really no updates besides capital planning made their presentation to the select board on Tuesday. So that was done. And then the rate review will make their presentation to the select board on, oh my gosh, I'm on the new website, so I can't.
March 17th.
March 17th will be the rate review we'll present to the select board. So that's the two items there. Okay, so for this evening, we've got the fiscal year 2027 budget presentation for the Department of Public Works. Joining us is Dan.
Okay, yeah, Dan Van Scalpwick here, the Public Works Director. There's a copy if you guys need it. And thank you, Robert and Mr. Chair. We have the presentation ready to go.
Thank you.
So I basically updated last year's presentation for this year's proposed FY27 level services budget. So here we go. Want to go to the next slide? So I think a few years ago, I looked back, I gave a brief overview of Public Works and what we do, but we pretty much have the same board makeup as we did then, so it'll be a little shorter this year, and we'll get right into budgets. But I'll just mention, Robert does a good job sending out a directive to all the departments when we prepare our budgets and doing a level services budget to, focus on our needs, not necessarily wants, and creating this budget. And at DPW, we really take that into account to, do the most we can with our money and basically treat it like it's our own personal budget, even though it's the town's. So the first item is the administration budget under DPW, and changes here are a reduction, an increase in salary, reduction in wages, and basically what's happening there in the wages, we've had a change in staff, and the staff members who are present now are at a lower step than the ones that were before. On the wage category, and the salary, it's the same staff there, so that's going up a little bit. But other than that, I feel comfortable with the budget the way it is. There's nothing special this year that's kind of a one-off or anything that I feel we would need to make any changes to the admin budget. Short, little savings amount. Okay, next up, the highway department.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Real quickly. What does encumbered mean?
Oh, so I don't even know why that's showed there, but so what that is at the end of a fiscal year, if there are say it's the end of FY25, and there's a contract we sign to purchase some equipment worth like $500. If we haven't received the equipment, but we know we're going to receive it in July after the fiscal year, we can encumber those $500 through the finance office, and it would hopefully go through FinCom, the encumberment. No, select board.
Yep.
Select board. And so then you basically can take those FY25 funds and use them in FY26. So you encumber those funds into the next fiscal year. So in some cases it does show up here when finance has prepared the budgets for me. In a few cases we did have encumbrments from last fiscal year.
Sure.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Highway. So in here it's just the wages, overtime, clothing reimbursement. Those are all contractual obligations, except in the overtime I did increase that based on trends, and I added $2,500 basically from the cemetery budget up into this budget, because the highway division is now taking on burials and work at the cemetery, which occasionally can happen on a Saturday. So that's why that has went up a little bit. You'll see it go down in cemetery when I get there. Line painting, that has increased over the years. The bid last year was $27,000, and that was our lowest bid, and the contractor was not responsible, so the second lowest bidder was actually higher. So I'm anticipating us to have to use a little more there, so I upped that budget to 33 by 1,000. We'll see where those bids come in this spring for FY26, and then that'll be helpful. And then we do have $1,000. We have for our guys, there's a punch time clock. There's a rental and subscription for that. So I just wanted to factor that into the budget. It's a little more costly than it used to be. So that's down in the expenses line item. Those are the increases proposed in highway. But other than that, our general services, supplies, I think we're in good shape with where those are at, and they've been trending well over the last 3 years. Next budget, equipment repair. So this is sort of, I like to call it an extension of highway. So our mechanic, he takes care of everything except wastewater items. So anything in there would come through this budget. It could get shared through some of the water or solid waste budgets as well if we did so. But the wages here will go up for contractual purposes, and the clothing reimbursement But based on trends, I think the rest of the services supplies we're in good shape with. We haven't taken on any new significant equipment or any large numbers. I don't feel like we need to increase it this year, and we can still maintain the services we have with this budget.
So Dan, just confirming, so the increase in wages was due to union contract?
Yeah. The next one is the snow budget. Try to find my notes.
Just do you know what these symptoms are?
Oh, here we go. Excuse me. Yeah, so on the snow budget, I proposed to update the overtime, the second line item, from 77,000 to 80,000, and that's just overtime for staff. So anytime they're plowing on non-regular working hours, their salaries are charged toward or wages are charged toward overtime, and so. They have been having increased pay rates with their contractual obligations with the union, so kind of just in turn, the overtime is going to cost more. So that's kind of increase on trend there. And then in services, we have 5 contractors, but we could potentially have a 6th assisting us with plowing. And we have taken on several more roads over the years, and we haven't increased the contractor numbers since I've been here, I think. So this would be a helpful add, and I estimate about $5,000 a year is what we would spend on an additional contractor. So that's the proposed increase there. It's not shown on here. One thing I am looking at is the salt and sand. This year is kind of an outlier. We've spent a lot this year, and we're keeping a close eye on FY26 budget as it's going to be coming in close. So we may want to consider in a future draft, we may want to consider increasing salt and sand as well. It's hard to foresee what the cost will be come next fall for the salt and sand, but the unit cost to sort of project it. But it's hard to foresee how bad a winter we'll have. Actually, I put that in the top note on the right. General snow is hard to trend. It depends on each season. So that's the snow budget. Short question. Yeah.
How are we faring against the fiscal year budget?
This for FY26.
Yeah.
So right now, I checked it on January 30th. I did a check. It was really close. And in February, it's gotten a little over, but we still have until the end of June. So it's kind of projecting it. It's going to be one that I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up over and we have to do something about it. Yeah. But we're kind of tracking it right now. Obviously, tonight isn't going to be helpful in supporting the budget.
Right.
But we try to be as efficient as we can, and we do what we need to do. We don't overdo it. But if you just have a tough year, it can happen. It has happened before where we've gone over.
And as the committee knows, it's the one budget that you can, quote, deficit spend. So what would happen, and there are other options, but historically, if it does go over, which it has at times, 2015 and so forth, we could deficit spend that amount, and what happens is you make it up on the recap sheet, meaning it would hit the free cash of the next year.
Okay.
So we are watching that closely.
Yeah. I did alert the select board to it the other night too, just so they know we're keeping an eye on.
Well, I figured that was the case.
Yeah.
Question?
Yep.
If so, this year obviously, we're not worried about having leftovers. But let's say you have years where we just don't get much snow. It's a really mild winter. What happens to that excess? Is it sort of carried over to next year, or
It reverts
back to
to
the
free
general
cash.
fund. Yeah.
So it goes
Okay.
back to the general fund.
Yeah.
Goes back to the general fund in the form of free cash. So I don't think that'll be the case this year, but you're correct. Eric, in previous years, he hasn't used it. It falls to free cash.
So another way of looking at it would be that we've had before this winter, we've had 2 previously relatively mild winters, and we have also had 2 healthy free cash allocations the last 2 years. I mean, so in other words, part of that healthy free cash growth in free cash was some leftover.
Yeah, there would be a
some
piece of it, sure.
A piece of it would be from the
Yeah.
snow stuff that wasn't used. Okay. Yeah, just trying to follow the trail.
Okay, next budget item under DPW street lighting. Excuse me. So in this, it's a pretty straightforward budget. So we began owning the street lights, I want to say it was 2016. When we took ownership of those from National Grid, we converted to LED. And so now we operate and maintain them as well. So we have a contract with Daigle Electric to do regular maintenance. If we have outages, I'll have them out. Good thing is the LEDs last pretty long, so we're doing really good with the FY26 budget. I don't have the numbers up there, but it's probably our strongest budget right now in FY26. But based on the trends and how much we've been spending, I don't see any reason to make any changes to the budget. It's I think we're in good shape.
Dan, is the
Yeah.
actual, so let's say we get the power from National Grid, is that covered by services, or is it power to power?
Yeah, it is covered under here. Under services, we do pay. They do charge us a fee for the
Okay.
street lights. Yeah,
So I mean, that's for the
it
cost.
comes out of here.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuel budget. Fueling station is at DPW. It's for all town vehicles that use it. So other departments use it as well. So the future outlook, you can see in my comment on the right, is relatively flat, looking at the next year ahead. Now this is before the whole issue with Iran started. So I don't know, oil's been going up recently in the short term, but I don't, in the future, it was looking like we would have a normal year of fuel, so I left the budget where it was. Thinking we could take it on, and we haven't taken on many, if any, extra vehicles as to what fleet we have in our fleet per town. So that's where it's at right now. There could be some consideration if we see projections of oil heading up, but it's kind of hard to outlook that right now.
So
Question.
Yeah, I have a question. So is the, you're taking on fuel under the DPW budget, you send an invoice to the other community?
So we actually do, yeah, they do. So you see fuel, other departments, we'll get a negative value in there.
Yeah.
And they it's the finance folks, I'm not exactly sure how Barbara and Kerry do it, but they do make a charge to the other departments, take it out of there and put it into ours.
And that's under your budget, so.
Yeah, it's under DPW, so we'll get a negative there, and then we have our budget, and yeah.
Okay.
It's not a significant amount the other departments spend. Police spends a lot.
So does police and fire fuel up at the DPW?
Yeah, both police and fire.
Okay.
And really, diesel is mostly us, and fire and gasoline is like everybody else, and we use it too.
Okay.
We have a diesel and gasoline
So that-
dispensers.
Would that fuel DPW essentially be the DPW trucks, the fire trucks, and the police cars?
I'd have to check with Barbara exactly what other departments are coming in, are coming in as a negative into this budget, as a revenue into this budget. But it's not, looking at the numbers, they're not significant. So I would think it's more like, hypothetically, I think it is more than DPW. I think police and fire are probably included in there too. But I would have to double check that with Barbara. Okay, so cemetery. So I kind of mentioned this at the beginning. The highway division is now taking over burials, other upkeep, anything. We do have a contractor who does the grass mowing and trimming around all the monuments and spring, fall cleanup, things like that. But other than that, the highway division is taking over all the duties there. So So you'll see cemetery wages. We used to have help. I noted David Dean. He was our cemetery superintendent, temporary employee, who helped us kind of transition to this point. So he's no longer with us, so we can reduce that wages budget. I did take the overtime out of here and moved it up into highway. Services, we have a new contract, a bid going out this year for a 3-year contract for the maintenance at the cemetery. So I don't have that number yet, but I obviously anticipate it to be higher than FY26. So we put an increase of $4,000 to make sure we're covered. And then supplies, just based on trends, and now that we've been operating the cemetery since 2022, we're kind of getting an idea of what we really need and don't. And I think we can reduce that budget down.
Question?
Yeah.
Where do the fees go for the plots? I assume there's a charge for a plot, right?
Yeah, so there are fees. So everything goes into the general fund, and this is a general fund budget. The only thing that doesn't are when we sell a lot. When you make that lot sale, there's a Massachusetts law, Chapter 114, that allows you to have a perpetual care fund.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now it's $1,500 for a lot sale. 1,000 of that goes to the general fund. 500 goes to this perpetual care fund, which is a fund that the town can keep separate, and it's meant just for cemetery purposes and maintaining the cemetery.
And is this part of this, is that part of this budget, or is that a separate?
No, so the budget, because it comes out of the big whole general fund, it's really the revenue from the cemetery, it just goes into that big whole general fund, so you don't see it that way really. I think what we've done with the commission is we've set the rates in a way to try to break even based on the number of burials we have a year. So that's what we did when we set the rates a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you had something to add, Robert.
No, I was just going to say through the chair, we could get for the committee, through Barbara, the accounting on the perpetual
We could,
care fund.
yeah.
So,
Be interesting.
yeah, I'll get that. I'll make it a note as a follow-up.
I mean, and theoretically, wouldn't we be able to dip into that for cemetery charges, cemetery upkeep?
I don't know the exact process because we've never done it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that is new.
you can.
We'll follow up
Yeah.
and get you that information. It's good questions.
So there is a separate bucket of
Yeah.
perpetual cemetery fund.
Yeah, and when we got the cemetery from the private company, there was some money put into it at that time, another certain amount of money put into the first budget, and yeah, so there was already money to start with, and anything we've been getting for revenue for lot sales goes into it.
And this is the cemetery by All Town, right?
Yep. Yep. And this is the last general fund budget, the tree warden budget. So the only change here is police details. We have had to spend a little more in the last few years, and I anticipate some more work on the main roads where we would need them in the upcoming years with plantings and trimmings. So I recommended increasing that by 1,000, but we have dropped, the services was a little higher a year or two ago, a couple years ago, when we were doing a lot more tree removals, but we've since removed all the high, medium, and low priority dead trees that were in our asset management plan. So we're getting more into a maintenance and planting type of a posture now. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask that you have a private company doing the tree
We
trimming
do.
and maintenance. Okay.
We don't do any on our own.
Okay.
It's something I've been thinking about at some point in the future, maybe it'd be something good to do in-house. We haven't headed down that road yet.
Yeah. Probably be more cost effective
You need
to
them.
use these guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of equipment and then insurance.
Bucket truck, and yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I haven't looked a lot into it yet, and but it's something that potentially Robert and I could consider as we continue in the future.
And that's under this budget, right? You did?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Does if it's a quote unquote state road with this and the tree, does the state kick in any money for trees?
We don't. The state owns it. it wouldn't be on us at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like Littleton Road or Fitchburg Road as you're heading out, state-owned road, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're heading, yeah, enterprise budgets now. So enterprise budgets, as you know, these have rates. These are not funded through the tax base. So water enterprise operating budget is the first one I have on here. And you'll notice that the wages are dropped, the salary goes up a little, wages go down a little. That's again, the salary is the same staff and they're increasing for their next year. They increase their salary. And we do have a lot of new staff in the wages column or row, is why that number is going down. So they're getting paid at a lower step than the previous staff who had been there were. Clothing reimbursement, that goes up per contract with the union. And so then we've got water, trying to look over services. So asking for a $5,000 increase. We do have additional backflow survey services that we require this year. I would ignore it says electrical panel for washing tank shed. We're not gonna do that this year, so that wasn't included in there. The next line item, which is utilities, $6,000. We do have an annual fee now with our water, sewer, and stormwater software that we use, and we're splitting that between the three budgets, so that's $6,000. And then what we'd like to do as well is increase the maintenance of wells budgets by $10,000 to $60,000. So Kimberly kind of wrote in here in the notes that it's about $50,000 for us to do 3 wells, but then we'll have zero contingency if something were to come along while we're cleaning those wells. And kind of taking a step back, we clean 2 or 3 wells every year because then it cleans the well screen out, cleans the area, and we get our capacity back, production from that well. So we have to do it at least every other year in a well. So it's an important task we do. But the idea would be to make sure we have some contingency funding there by bumping that up. The next budget I propose for increase is the supplies budget. And we do need 2 new backwash valves, and that's a 1-year thing, so that's about $19,000, as well as, and this goes back to sort of the electric panel, but this is kind of the first step just to take care of the shed we have up at Washington Street tank, which houses some of our equipment, is in poor condition. So we just need some building materials to get it by for a little while before we make an upgrade to it.
Question?
Yes.
You said the backwash valves were a yearly thing?
No, it's a 1-year thing. It'd be something we would do this year. Get 2 of them.
I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a schedule of replacement for pumps, for example? Have you got a routine schedule for various pieces of equipment?
So we don't have a good formal one. So what we do have an asset management plan we had put together by CDM a little while ago, but the upkeep of it hasn't been the best. With our pumping stations, we did just go through a process of a master plan with those, and so we have a really good idea what to do with those. At the plants, the wastewater plant's in good shape because we're going through a 5-year upgrade, so that's been accounted for. And the wastewater pump stations. The water stations, we do have a master plan there, but not necessarily a very detailed plan about when to replace what pumps when. We kind of have just been, not having a formal plan, but having a plan of, all right, this pump's been in service for so long, we've maintained it for so long, we're gonna have to replace it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
The next line item is going down, the $4,833 in the red was other expenses. So last year was a renewal year, so there's a lot more training for all of the staff. So we projected to move that down for this year. And then as you get below that, it gets into some of the sort of financials rather than the expense items from the DPW administers through the budget. The indirect cost reimbursement, operating reserve, capital debt, admin fees, debt principal. Those are all items Barbara completes as we understand what the debt interest is and indirect costs coming into the budget. So I have updated those here from her as well. Yeah. Question.
At the top, the waterfront salary you said was, regular increases or whatnot, but it's 23%. It doesn't.
Isn't it a portion of the salary though?
It's a portion of the salary. I don't know why it's 23% year over year. Oh, yes. So we recently, the department, so it's half of the water and sewer superintendent. So her salary is going up. And then 1/3 department assistant. The department assistant has moved from 32 hours to 40 hours, so that would account for some of it. But I'd have to dig into the weeds to find out if there's anything else going on.
Is it a change in how that it is attributed? Like, was half of the water superintendent's salary on it last fiscal year?
It was. Yeah, and it would have been 1/3 of what at the time was a billing and office assistant, which was less hours and a lower pay, but not significantly lower. So I could dig into the weeds in that one and find out exactly why there's such a change.
That would be great.
Yeah. And you'll see the same under sewer because both of them are split water and sewer.
So, y'all said, or?
Yes.
Yeah. So looking down towards the bottom, we look at the amount change and there is a deficit. Now, that's going to be covered? I'm going to put my rate review hat on. When we did the rate review, we are doing I believe we're doing a 3% increase. Yeah, I was pulling up.
Yeah.
But then we're also pulling $350,000 from retained earnings. And then as I remember from rate review, part of that was to cover that $45,000 and.
Yeah, I think that this is a little different. It's really get up the point with that. It's comparing FY26 to.
Oh, that's right. Okay, this is in cash flow. Okay.
And so the big one here, transfer to capital projects, that went down to 0.
Right.
I have to ask Barbara. Sometimes she'll take it right out of the budget, the capital, instead of having it as a separate capital item. And then this one will probably change, indirect cost reimbursement. For now, Barbara said to carry the same number as last year, but that could go up, and some of that's based off of wages that get charged to the fund.
Right.
So this number could go up a bit. I think that's still going to be 0.
Yeah. So that shows you reduced the budget from last year by 45,000 or 2.
I apologize.
No.
Yeah, I am mixing up cash flow with
I hear you.
with this. So to restate for the record, this budget is showing the overall budget going down 2%, which is, and you can strike the idea that we were using anything for the capital reserves. That has to be
I didn't
rate
update.
review.
It was different than this. Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. Okay.
I think, next is wastewater, or sometimes we call it sewer. The hand was up. So on here, I think it's very similar to water. We do have that, oops, I'm in the wrong, the 23% increase, which I'll look into as why for the salaries. You'll see the wages come down. That is also a primary driver of that, is we have new staff, younger staff, lower stepped in positions. That's the primary driver there. Overtime, and Kimberly had noted here, I worked with her, the budget hasn't changed in over 3 years. The good thing is we're off of the 2-man rotation. It's good for the guys, and when they're getting paid overtime, the calculation for OT, they actually get paid a little more. But we do have some future night repairs we know of coming next fiscal year. So recommend a slight increase there. Clothing would be contractual. Sewer fund services. So we do, what's going on, it says 12,000 in the comments here, 12K to upgrade 3 missions. So what the missions are, there are our SCADA system for the pump station. So we have 19 pump stations in town. At each station there's one of these devices, and it communicates to the internet through cellular to tell us what's going on at the station. If it's online, if there's an emergency, it alerts you with an alarm. And so the software and hardware is becoming outdated. We've replaced, I think, 3 of them to date, but we got to kind of start phasing and replacing more before they get obsolete. And so that's what that in 12,000 is of that 22,000 is for in that line item. And then the other thing is we do need to factor out the muffins at Main and Central. So basically the muffins, they are where the wastewater comes into these pump stations. Main and Central are our 2 largest. They go into a wet well, but before they go into that wet well, they go through a muffin monster, they call it, and it basically scrubs and gets all the debris and all the items out before it goes in there and gets into a pump and then clogs up a pump. So we do have to clean those out, and that's why she noted here 25K with a question. I think right now Kimberly was still quoting it, but we felt comfortable right now having a $22,000 increase in that line item in total. Once again, the $6,000 for the software UB4. One item I just point out, it has a 0 here right now, line item sludge removal. So we have current budget in FY26, $300,000, proposed for FY27, the same, $300,000. We do have a contract out to bid, and bids are being opened on March 26th. So on March 26th, we will know if how bids come in and whether we may want to make a change to that 300 for the better or for the worse. Next item with an increase, we have supplies, $7,500. And so Kimberly noted in the comments, $8,000 for a truck sander. So that would be something we add to the back of one of our trucks. Wastewater is the only division that doesn't have it. Well, solid waste doesn't either. But they use it at their satellite stations. That's where they would use it. And also our landscape trailer has gotten in poor condition, so we need to do some repairs. So she put in $2,500 for that as well. Comfortable with putting $7,500 total to complete those upgrades within the $130,000. And then again, the same thing with wastewater, all the licenses for the staff this year we project to be more of a down year. It's not a renewal year. So reducing those funds, $5,833. And then the other values are more finance related after that line item.
I do have a question on and again, I know Barbara isn't here. Robert, I don't know if you might be able to speak to it, but so on this debt and interest, the sewer debt interest is going down, sewer debt principal is going up. I'm guessing that is because we're paying down debt early.
Yes.
Okay, so by paying that debt down early, you
Yep.
save on interest.
Yep.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, I can have
Oh, yeah.
Barbara.
Yeah.
I'll have Barbara
If she could
clarify.
clarify
Yeah.
that, yeah.
I'm just making a note on that. Yep.
Okay, and then and if she can clarify the transfer to capital.
Mm-hmm.
So is that's an expense that we are now going to borrow to pay? Is that how that works?
No, so that'll come out, so this is the sewer operating budget, so it'll come out of our current sewer funds. And what it is, there are two items in the capital budget. One of them's 90,000, the other's 20,000, but I don't remember exactly which items.
Yeah.
See if I can find them. The tertiary filters, it's really like every other year we need to replace those, that's 20,000. And a wastewater pickup truck is 90,000. So we could get more clarity from Barbara on why we pay it out of the sewer operating budget in this way rather than
Yeah.
a capital item per se. But that's what the 110 is 90.
But I think that the big question is that, again, glancing at the numbers and knowing that Barbara's usually very good at paying down debt, I just want to confirm that that's what's happening there with the sewer debt and interest and principal. Because I was just doing some quick math here. The net of those two entries, the negative 231, 461, against a increase in principal of 365, 474, is 134,000. So we're spending another 134,000 to pay down principal. If you back that out, that lowers that 168,000 increase to the budget down to about 24,000. So my takeaway is that looking at this right now, there's a 4% budget increase. But if you set aside that principal payment or take that out, the rest of the budget is really only going up maybe some 1 or 1.2% your actual day-to-day budget.
Yeah.
So I will have Barbara clarify and confirm that, Mr. Chair. Good question.
And
So-
I think some of it probably deals too with the timing of the borrow. Like right now we have the phase 4 upgrade, but we've only really borrowed enough right now to do the design phase. Tell Barbara, hold on, because construction isn't, so it might be the timing of that, next FY27 we'll be getting into construction, so it could be why the principal's jumping up too.
Yeah, which is like, so looking at water and sewer, so when we looked at that, if you want to, could you go back one, Robert?
Sure.
So we saw a drop in the water budget of 2%, and then go up back to water. That is wastewater is increasing, but a good portion of that is for debt service. So my takeaway, besides the salaries that you noted, Eric, which you'll address, overall the department budgets or this enterprise fund budgets are pretty level. There isn't a great big increase.
Yeah, the debt's a big driver.
Yeah,
right?
the debt and the personnel of the riders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solid waste enterprise budget. So the changes in this budget, one thing is the first one, overtime. The wages, something's not right there. I'll have to double check on the wages on solid waste
They always have
enterprise.
gone down, haven't
They have, but really, that would be part of it, but I think it's still too low. I'm just noticing this now. But the overtime, I recommend reducing that because the hours did go down. There, rarely is overtime at the station. It's only if we really got to take care of something or before the station opens, or if a vendor can't make it during the week for whatever reason, we have to go over and the guy's got a lot of minutes. It's union based, so I can't try not to make that happen, but it can. So really, 7,000 should be healthy for overtime. Let's see, amount change, $50, that's the clothing, so that's really part of the union contract. Solid waste services, I propose increasing that $3,000. We do have landfill monitoring coming up, and that will be increasing. It increases every year. We haven't increased it in a little bit for that. And then just a general increase in cost for services. So solid waste recycling removal. I projected on that budget, proposed reducing that 3,000. Yeah, it's from 77,000 to 74,000. If we trended over the last 3 years, we've been around 65,000. And even FY25, the actual spend was 62,000. So the price for recycling, you know, it's been much more favorable market to remove recyclables. At one point, years and years ago, we used to actually get paid for them. So just based on trends, I recommend moving that down. I think we'll be okay. Going down 3,000, we'll still be healthy enough. And then the rest, I know, just working with Barbara, we haven't been able to fill in those yellow columns yet. Those are really finance-driven items, the cost reimbursement down to the capital project.
Question?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're the person to ask about this, but what would be, since we're talking about recycling, what would be the change in cost if we changed recycling from single stream to something else? I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't have that much confidence that single stream is that effective in actually recycling materials. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of
Yeah.
it just gets, you know,
Yeah.
it disappears.
No, I haven't done the analysis, but like Harvard, they separate a lot more than us. Ayer, we're zero stream, single stream, and Groton that's like separates their glass, brown, clear, green. Like they have everything separated, so that there can be advantages. The other side of it, there's capital cost to be able to do that, to create all the different areas to receive the different materials, and there's more. There can be more, maybe not so more hauling, but you know, there could be more hauling costs. So long story short, I haven't done an analysis on it, but it's something to potentially look at. Just in general, at the top of my head, I feel like the capital costs would be pretty significant to build the infrastructure there to do it. But like right now, we do separate cardboard from the rest of the recycling, so we do pay a separate price for that. So, you know, that's been helpful, especially when cardboard was much more favorable than the rest of recyclables. But that's a good point, I'd say, Eric. Yeah.
Dan, didn't we have that outfit do the study on the transfer station a couple of years ago? Would that have some notes on Eric's question?
I'm trying to think if they.
I can't
I
remember.
don't-
Yeah, we had a.
They look.
They did a
at
whole
changing
analysis.
I don't think they looked at changing the recycling ability there. But I could look back at that.
Yeah, that'd be a good starting point. Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe just shoot us the link, because they did a whole study of the transfer station operation and everything. Okay. So we are going to see. We'll need to see an updated on this operating budget.
Yeah, and the yellow rows. Yeah, the next version of the budget, you would definitely see those completed.
Okay.
Go to I think we're at the last one. Stormwater Enterprise Fund. The only changes from last year's budget would be the increase for the UB4 software and the services line item. You know, we're still in the infancy of this budget, and we've been able to already do a lot more this year proactively, so it's been good so far in 26, but I don't see any need to make any changes for 27. And this one again, the yellow rows will need to be filled in.
But do we think that in general that these budgets won't be going up? Increasing?
Stormwater.
No,
Or-
the solid waste. In other words, solid waste and stormwater where we had.
Oh, if in like a future draft of the budget?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I mean, but most.
No.
Yeah.
And usually we start out, you know, trying to do as much as we can to keep the services as we can, and then we try to skimp a little if we can. So I don't see anything going up. Oh, when the yellow rows get filled in, yes. Sorry, then it would. Yeah, the indirect cost capital. But the items that are non-yellow that I've filled in, those would not go up.
Relative to the current budget, you expect an increase on those yellow line items, or is that too early to tell?
Oh, relative to the current?
Yeah. And the forecast. It's a little difficult.
It'd probably be a slight increase. Usually indirect costs go up a little bit because those relate to salary and charging certain portions of salaries there, of insurance. Yeah, so that would a little, but the rest, I don't think would at this. Well, no, debt interest principal could go up a little. It could go up a little, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah, hard to say. I don't think it would be significant. It could go up a little.
And there's no, the rate review committee on the 17th is recommending no rate increase on
Yeah.
stormwater.
Correct. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee, Andrew, on the DPW presentation? Okay, hearing none, do we have any public?
I just have one.
Yes.
Do you,
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah with the 11 Groton Shirley Road. So the Water Enterprise Fund budget here on page 5, I think it's really tiny, but it's the MCMT admin fees. I think it's like $6,000. I just can't see it right this second. It's like third from the bottom. Can you just talk a little bit about those? I think it's the first year it says.
Yeah, so what this is, it's Massachusetts Clean Water Trust. And Kimberly did note in here, new line item taken from another debt service. So what we've done is we've taken it out of, showing it in the debt interest or the debt principal to show on its own. And Kimberly has done that working with Barbara, but it's related to the potential that we're looking into a water main extension from, why am I blanking on the term? The reservoir.
Well, no, is this to do with, was it last year?
Yes, that.
And we joined, Ayer joined or is planning to join the Massachusetts
Yeah.
Water Trust.
Yeah, MWRA, that's what I said.
MWRA.
Yes, so that's related to that.
Okay.
And that's basically debt interest from that capital item that was done last year. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, it helps me even if I get like a little closer, like have some exposure to it. So.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you brought, because it's interesting. So yeah, you presented that, you and Sarah, you're Sarah, Kimberly works with you. Kimberly
Yeah.
presented. We joined, did we not join? Or
We haven't done that. We're currently in
We
the
did the
process
application.
of doing an application and still, we're still going through that process. Yeah.
And this would give us, if we become a member of this, access to state water if need be.
Yeah, this would be like a 20-year down the road thing if it ever came here. And so really we're working with a conglomerate of different towns and looking at this, whether it's feasible or not, and if it makes sense for Ayer to join. There are other benefits too when you're in MWRA. There's trainings, there's technical assistance, things like that you get as well. So it's been a while. We haven't given an update on it in a while. It'd be good. I could get Kimberly to.
Yeah,
be a good thing
and just to
update on.
point out, we're in the study phase.
Yeah.
If it would be determined that we would actually join, it would take an act of town meeting. We're
Yeah.
not there yet, but
Okay.
Yeah.
So town meeting would have to approve the membership. Right now, we're just looking at the feasibility.
Right. Yes. I think it's good. It's the town since I think 1969 has been looking for water sources throughout town, and we have a new one we're potentially doing on near Spec Pond, but it's always good to have the options out there and vet this one.
And the reason that it came to my memory so quick is that there was an actual article in the Globus, I think either last week or this week, where we got in early. Apparently, it's not easy to get into that now.
Oh, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, there was a cutoff date we signed before.
And some people
Without
are like,
fee.
oh, gee,
Yeah.
we should have signed up for this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good for future growth and, as I remember. Okay, but that cost is associated.
Yeah, they're showing the admin fees from that work. Just broken out.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, that was it.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions. All right, Dan, thank you very much.
Well, thanks. Yeah, anytime. And you can come back if you need it. And,
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we'll get those follow-up answers.
Okay.
We get the list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just, we mentioned, but actually before the meeting, but actually on the record, thank you to the snow crews.
Oh, yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah, I know. They've been working hard this year, and I've let them know, and they've heard it from a lot of people, and we really appreciate it. Yeah. They'll be out there again tonight, a little later.
They must be happy. A little extra income.
Yeah, they do get paid. That's true.
Yeah.
So, they are working
I
hard,
know people-
long hours, but they are getting
It's like people that work in paving and landscaping and stuff like
Right.
that. They look
Yeah.
forward to stuff like that in the winter. So
Yeah. Some of the guys are really loving it. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Right, thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
moving on, we've gone through public input, so scheduled next meeting. So our next meeting is going to be Thursday, March 19th. Now, we had a police department scheduled, and he'll still be doing his presentation. And Robert confirmed that the Dr. Renata will be joining us to do an updated presentation on the Ayer Shirley Regional High School, school district. So we'll get an update on that budget there. And then we'll also take a look at the free cash at that meeting. So there'll be police department, Ayer Shirley Regional School District, and free cash. And so that's going to be a busy meeting. And then that's on Thursday, and then Wednesday, March 25th is our first public forum on the FY 2027 with the select board. That's on a Wednesday, the 25th.
okay.
Okay. Andrew?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, Andrew.